Altru and Station 1. Altru Station 1 for an overdose. They have had 2 doses of Narcan and possibly starting CPR now.
The male victim of that heroin overdose survived. According to court documents, Mary Walls gave him Narcan and performed CPR and led emergency responders to the victim. But now she's facing drug charges. It's all left many viewers wondering why she wasn't protected by North Dakota's immunity law, which is designed to protect people from charges if they report an overdose, a medical emergency. However, there are other factors that can lead to charges. Lieutenant Derek Zimmel of the Grand Forks Police Department cannot address this specific case because it's still in the courts, but he has a fuller explanation of the law.
So you can't speak to any specific case here, but in general, how does the Good Samaritan immunity law work?
Right. And you're right, I can't speak to any case that's being currently adjudicated.
Okay.
So in general terms, the law was amended a couple years ago to more specifically address drug charges, right, and situations involving drug overdoses. And the reason for that is the vastly increased lethality of certain types of street drugs nowadays as compared to years past. The legislature recognized that due to that lethality, it was in the greater interest of society to get people medical assistance to save lives, as opposed to worrying about gathering evidence and filing criminal charges. So there are several different aspects to the law that come into play. First and foremost, there needs to be a medical emergency. A life needs to be at risk. Second of all, the law applies to certain parts of the criminal code regarding narcotics offenses. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, the person who's calling needs to be fully cooperative with emergency responders. Again, the reason the law is on the books is to provide emergency responders with every possible means of assistance in order to save a person's life.
So if I call an emergency, if I call you guys, I've got a friend here who's overdosed, but you come into my house and I'm not cooperative with you as to, yes, we have heroin over here or this and that over here, that kind of immunity is going away?
Correct. The immunity is on the books to say if you're trying to save a life, all of us are more interested in the life than the criminal charges, which means be fully cooperative, provide full and complete assistance, any information those responders need to allow them to very efficiently and effectively help this person in medical distress. If you do that, we're going to overlook certain offenses. If you don't do that, then you're not doing everything possible to provide assistance, and so that immunity no longer applies.
And another, for instance, so you asked me, what do you think he took, the person that overdosed? I don't know. We don't have anything here, and this and that, and
right.
Okay.
That's not being very helpful, and it's not assisting those emergency responders in providing immediate and emergency medical assistance to that person in distress.
Okay, we're just trying to kind of make sure here that people don't not call. I mean, we want them to call.
We want them to call. That's the law is on the books to allow them the freedom to call.
Okay.
So, in your instance, you see a person that you're with, overdose on drugs. It's a medical emergency. You're afraid they're going to die. You call for assistance. The police show up. You have drugs in the open, and you say, look, this is what happened. This is how long ago it was. This is what I've done in the meantime. This is what they took. This is the needle or device or whatever that was used. What can I do to help?
Okay.
At that point, I think they'd be very hard pressed in order to file criminal charges.
Now, over on the other side of the river in Minnesota, a similar law is on the books. A bit different is that the immunity law in Minnesota states that just the first person to call can be immune from charges, and they must stay on the scene and cooperate. The basic message here is to make sure if you're on the scene of an overdose, a medical emergency, call 911, stay on the scene, and cooperate fully. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.TV.